Welcome to the POJ. This is Rob Maston with week 7 coming up, week 6 in our rearview window, and we have a great and eclectic cast here today. From the first week, Shane Ryan is back.
Hey, excited to be back. Thanks for having me.
You got it. And we brought in one of our rookies, one of my neighbors. This is his first year in the RFHL in the floor hockey, but he's played softball with us and he's played ice hockey. Andrew Keller is with us.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for having me on, Rob. Appreciate it.
You got it. You got it. Now, just going over.
And welcome to Cooking with Dan. Excited y'all are here. Don't usually do these nighttime appearances, but this called for a special recipe.
Now I got. Wait. Dan, what time are you supposed to be on? Is it 8:30 on Sunday again?
I thought it was 6:10 Pacific, maybe.
Yeah. You know what? I got the times mixed up. What do you got there?
So what we're doing today is a fried eggplant. Really good recipe. Made this a lot of times. If you're not an eggplant fan, I guarantee if you try this out, it'll win you over.
Okay. I mean, how do you think we could do the hockey show still and maybe teach? I mean, maybe a hybrid or something. I mean, we can just combine the two shows or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we could try that. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start with some hockey stuff, and then as I'm going, we'll go for it.
Yeah. I mean, what are you making first of all?
So as I said, we got some fried eggplant here. So you cut some circles.
Okay.
Right? You got maybe like 1/4 inch thick.
Okay.
And then you got to make yourself a little breading station.
Okay.
The standard flour, egg, and then this is where the magic happens right here. It is a oats and brown sugar.
Okay.
And you might think oats and eggplant don't go together. Well, you're wrong. We bread it a little bit. Flour.
Okay.
Egg. Get it in the mixture. And then all you do is fry it up. It takes a couple minutes per side. Add some salt at the end, and I can guarantee you, maybe I'll bring them one day.
Okay. Dan, now, is this a good pregame meal or a postgame meal, would you say? I mean, if we play on a Wednesday, what would you say? Is this something you're making before? It seems like it's a little bit of a timely thing, but I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, you could bang it out pretty quick if you needed to. However, I'm not going to recommend it as a pregame meal.
Okay. Definitely kind of something that'll hold you up before the
little heavy.
Yeah.
A little heavy, a little messy, very delicious. But post game, maybe. I'll just throw a shout out. One time I tried Kurt's shortbread as a pregame hockey thing. That is actually the worst possible thing you could have before a hockey game.
Okay, so that's definitely a post, and we've all had Kurt's shortbread. He brings it around Christmas time, so I bet you we could have some good stories in the chat about Kurt's shortbread, and if you've had it pregame and postgame. But Dan, you're saying it's something you definitely don't want to have pregame. I could understand that.
Let's talk some hockey.
Absolutely. So Dan, I know you had to sit this week's game out. Can you talk to us a little bit about what's going on and what you thought of your team's performance?
Well, we'll start with the team because I certainly don't want to talk too much about myself, considering I don't really have much of an update. But the team, I got to say, our matchup this week, we were playing the yellow team, the Firestorms, I believe, right? That's
Firestorm Hockey Club.
Official name of it. I usually know the teams by the colors, not always the names.
Yeah. Mr. Bill Smith was your opponent. Mr. Bill Smith and his
Bill was missing. Bill was
okay. So
I would have remembered if Bill was there. So anyway, really tough game. Mark, I would say, played perhaps his best game of the season. As I think if you saw the score, 5-3, I believe, 5-3, 6-3, 5-3 was the final. We had a heroic performance, a gutty performance. We had a really nice, Tom Venero came in as a sub for us and really really assisted in our victories. So we ended a little losing streak that we had, and we're hoping to carry it into next week.
Nice. So is Tom going to take over for you in the short term, or have you guys kind of talked about that? I know you're a tough, or anybody who has to replace you it's got to be a tough thing to do. What are your thoughts on that as far as how that's going to work?
Yeah, so we've been struggling with trying to find a replacement.
Yeah.
There was one guy who would have been a great replacement. Unfortunately, he got snagged a little bit before I officially ruled myself out. I did get.
Now, is he on this phone call?
He is on this phone call, and I think he made his debut last night.
Shane, let me ask you, Shane, did you get bribes from Mr. Newberry to what did he offer you that Les Tremblements couldn't do?
An opportunity. It's probably what happened. It was kind of immediate, like literally, like when it all happened. Obviously, feel terrible about Conco. That's the one thing I don't want to do is replace somebody else and replace a quality guy. Like also Dan Hook on this call as well. Great guys that you don't want to replace.
Right.
But it was one of those things where it happened. Someone looked at me and goes, "Are you cleared?" And I was like, "Kinda." And then it kind of circulated. I went and did the broadcast, and then Newberry, as I was walking out of the gym, was like, "So, what do you do next week?" And
And my understanding is you just got cleared. When
it was like that Friday before, so that would have been the Wednesday that happened. So it's kind of funny when it officially became like that Ryan was out and that I was gonna get asked to do it. I was literally playing pickleball with some of my more senior friends at the YMCA on a half day of work, and I texted Sweet back to say, "Hey, let me go see if I can actually run before I can actually say it if I can play." Okay. So I ran 3 miles that night. It worked out pretty well, and the rest is history.
I think Dan's preparing as we speak to have you jump on to Les Tremblements. Which Dan?
Yeah, I could probably have an eggplant delivered not too long over to the house if that'll sweeten the deal. No, I mean we would have loved to have had you, but certainly you committed to the other guys, and I'm sure you'll do well. You already did have a nice first
Let
game.
Let them to a win. Now, Dan, I think the question on everybody's mind right now is how do you say your team name properly?
I took Spanish in high school.
Okay.
So I know, the faintest bit of French. When I was reading it and when I think I did ask Google how to say it before the draft, just to make sure I didn't sound like an idiot. So I try to, give myself a little inflection and I say, Les Tremblements. But I don't know if that's right.
No, I talked to Alex Packard on the first broadcast of the year, and he nailed it. But he also told me he took a little bit of French in high school. So I deferred to Alex on that. It sounds like he nailed it. So awesome.
Dan, I did the exact same thing, Dan. I literally was on Google when I was about to broadcast your game like week 3, and I just kept hitting having Google hit the say the actual translation on there, and I was like, all right, they trimmed them all.
Every single time I'm
like, just say it real fast.
Yeah. I'm sitting there doing it the American way, like Les Tremblements. So I caught myself doing that a few times. Just want to throw a quick question to Andrew. I know Dan is I don't know, Dan, you can stick around for as long as you'd like, but I'd like to get some hold on, before I even do so, Dan, what did you just add to that right there?
So just put a little salt.
Okay.
So this is our fried eggplant ready to go. I would certainly burn my mouth if I tried it right this second.
Sure.
But it's ready to go. I'm pretty hungry. So I'm trying to think if there's any last things. Oh, we were going to mention, unfortunately, if you weren't able to sign up for Summer League, you're now on the waiting list. But perhaps.
Yes, can I put my name in now?
But you're number one on the list.
I saw Shane yesterday at one of our friends' house, and I told him to sign up. I didn't know it had been closed. So that, and few people know this though, Dan. Do you realize that when we, like, during the 2020 season, we went to Al Lynch's house, me, Shane, and Sweet, and we played the first reiterations of we played 2-on-2 at the time, outdoor hockey. So that's how we kind of kept the RFHL up to stuff during the 2020 pandemic. So if anybody drops out, Shane's all over it.
And that was the official Dan stuff that we did. It wasn't the behind the screen, behind the closed doors stuff we did at Gates Recreation for a few other games that we had throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. And I know Dan's got to go, but just a few questions for him before he goes, and then we'll have. I mean, I didn't really prepare anything. I mean, but then I have Andrew speak up. I feel bad. You know, rookies go last, Andrew. Sorry.
No, I did it.
So, your thoughts on your team going forward without you, as far as what you have coming up for the season. Does it sound like you can finish this season, or you're just completely waiting at this point just to find out what happens?
Well, so I feel I'm out a couple more weeks at least.
Okay.
And what I had hoped to do, because I was willing and I kind of wanted just to close the door on it and rule myself out for the rest of the season, so that we could, because I knew I was doing my team more harm than good being out there. So if we had a suitable replacement, I was certainly willing to just say, like Shane would have been a much better long-term person for us. Unfortunately, we've tapped a lot of the resources in the RFHL tree of people who've played, and there's not there's nothing falling out of those branches. So right now we're kind of at if I can make it back, maybe. We're still seeking. So if there's somebody out there not playing that would be a suitable replacement, we'd love to have them, because I think we have a good team. With Mark and Net, you always have a shot to win. We started off the season pretty good, and then we had a little slide there. There are some really talented teams out there, but I do think at full strength or with a full squad and a good high level person, even though somehow I get put up there, with some of those other guys. I don't feel like I match up with them when I'm healthy, but we could make some noise in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's kind of, we're a question mark. I don't know, if I knew some French, I would try to say something fancy to kind of add a little mystery to it. But I'm going to go take my eggplant and I'm going to go watch the Tournament of Champions and see who's surviving on Food Network tonight.
Well, Dan, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no, watch. We got some cooking videos coming out as we go through Gates Rec. Those of you who signed up for summer, really excited to have you. If you didn't make it, Shane, like I said, you're number one on there. Believe it or not, some people do get injured and aren't able to finish the season. I know you'd find that hard to believe.
Yeah. And Dan, what you're modestly not saying is you're very tough to replace as one of our first rounders in this league. So that's kind of the tough deal. We're trying to find somebody that is up to snuff with your skill set. And as somebody who's played with you a lot in the past, it's you definitely can't replace a Dan Hook. I'll be honest with you. Nope. So we really appreciate you stopping on tonight, and definitely wish you the best of luck in your recovery.
Thanks for the kind words, guys. Happy podcasting.
Happy cooking. All right, guys. Thank you so much. As we got our lines crossed tonight, and Dan got some of his cooking show in while we were talking here, and I guess I'm having a little bit of.
Oh, there goes Rob.
Are we still recording, or are we not recording? That's the bigger question.
Maybe we can edit it after the fact. I don't know how you follow up that cooking show, though.
No, I mean, and I feel bad. I mean, Dan's one of the all-time greats in this league, and I'm just going to keep continuing like we're still on broadcasting. But I mean, Dan's one of the all-time greats, and he's impossible to replace just from a quality guy, but also just what he can do on the court is just, it's incredible. The dude just performs at a consistent level at all times, and he is the hardest guy for us to have to try to go as someone as a defender. Like Dan is just, you got to figure out where he is on the court because he will score every time.
Yep, absolutely. Andrew,
we just kept continuing, Rob. We weren't sure.
Okay, I jumped out.
So.
I don't know how long I was out. I just came back from. All right, I'm sorry. I'd like to expand upon what he just said. So, what were your thoughts on this week's game, Andrew? I know we've been playing some 1 and 2 goal games. Talk to me a little bit about what you thought about this week's game. We had a very tough opponent with playing against Brett in goal, and Paul's slappers. What were your thoughts on playing against Paul for the first time, and actually against Brett too? I mean, both really good hockey RFHL legends, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, my only prior experience with Brett was, defending for him when we played ice over at Scottsdale.
Right.
So
right.
I was not looking forward to playing against him. But when you counter, I feel very fortunate to be able to counter goalies like Brett with having a Brad on our team.
Yes.
And even I was even thinking too, as opposed to last week where he had half the goals himself, it felt like we spread it out a little bit better. This week we to not to take anything else away there, but Brad was setting us up.
Yes.
But we were all finishing. I know you had a pretty early hat trick.
Yeah.
I think
they were all on assists from Brad too. I mean, he set me up for 3. I thought one of them was. I actually went back and looked at it. I thought one of them was from you, but no, they were all from Brad. The one he made to me across the court, I was like, I couldn't believe I hit it. I mean, it was such a freaking like it was like it was and one hockey basically. He just did not expect that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and then on mine. That was after, if anybody watched closely, that was my 4th or 5th attempt to one of his passes home. So I finally connected. For those who don't know, I'm a defenseman by trade. So that's been, we can touch on that later if we have another question on it, but that's been, finishing is not necessarily one of my fortes, I guess, but, Brad always makes those easy passes, but even George almost had a hat trick in the first 7 minutes of the game. I think.
Yeah. Well, for those
overall, though, to your point about close games, I felt like it wasn't even just us this week. Every game was really good this week, I thought. Even Shane, in your game, I mean, there was that little blitz in the second period there, I think, but before and after that, it was close. I know Storm Surge made a little bit of a push at the end, just kind of ran out of clock, but you even see it in the standings. I mean, it's
very close.
And I don't know, this is my first season, obviously, so I don't know if this is typical or if it's just a really good draft this year or what it was, but I mean, this is tight. I mean, we have a 3-way tie for first. I mean, even I feel like I've heard this on every other podcast, sorry, but the even Storm Surge, I mean, they're way better than 1-5, right? So this has been a really cool season for me to get into it. I feel pretty lucky in that regard. So.
And Shane, you've been around all season. You've seen what's going on even before you started playing your first game. Talk to me a little bit more about your game. I saw you score your first goal, which was a beauty, by the way. I was refereeing that.
Oh, he cut out again.
I think I know where he was going, but no, I mean it's been interesting. I mean, and go back to what you were just previously saying, Andrew. I mean, it is. I've only been in the seas. I mean, I've been on and off. I've been here since I think 6 years. I've been in Rochester, and I've played a variety of different seasons. I had a little bit of a lull in between. Obviously, COVID was COVID. But from the seasons I've been in there's always a team that's that much a cut above everybody else. And then there's a couple of bottom feeders. This is the most I've seen, the most parity I've seen in this league for a while. And I think the other part that's with it, and Rob, we'll go back to your question in a second. I was just kind of commenting on
losing my internet.
And I was commenting on Andrew's comment when he was saying is this atypical? And I've been in this league for 6 years or so, and this is the most like parity I've seen in top to bottom standings. Like where like looking at the teams that are bottom, there's so much talent that's there. Like certainly there's like usually a team that's a cut above and a team that's a little bit maybe lacking, and you know that there's reasons why they're not charging up in the standings. But this has been, I mean, and also it's been we haven't had a lot of roster parity too. I mean, this has been a lot of shakeups, new rookies that are there, new people, a lot of new makeups, and like a lot of players are playing with people they've never played before, which is awesome to see. Because usually you can slot in like who's going to go where, because it's always been the same people every time, and you just figure out who the captain is that gets that person. But it's been nice this year to see how it's everything's up in the air.
Yeah, the draft was very unpredictable this year, and I feel like we always have we've got 2 first rounders out this year, and Shane's taking the spot of one of them. And the parity. I mean, last year the 8th place team came back and won the whole thing. This year, I mean, every team has that piece where they can take over in the playoffs. I really do believe that, and I think we're already seeing it in the regular season, which is kind of a trade-off from last season. So Shane,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries.
Question. We just
I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight, but I got cut off there. Just wanted to see, it's really tough to replace a Ryan Conco. What has your role been with the team? They got you in the chats and everything like that. How has that transition been from Ryan to yourself from your point?
Well, you can't replace a Conco. I mean, and same with Dan Hawk. I mean, we were joking around that in the last cutout. Like those are guys like you. They're great character guys. They're amazing players, and they play so hard on all levels of the court. So my job is not to try to replicate that, because I can't. I mean, I would love to say that I am a diet version of Conco in a sense, but like no one can match his energy and his speed on that court. So. Yeah. I try to replicate that, but I mean, the thing that was really, I guess, the most attractive to me was twofold. One, obviously, Newberry asking me first, which is awesome and like sweet and like slot me in. But 2, I felt like when last year's season, the stroke like kind of shut down what was going on.
Right.
I didn't think we were going to win the championship, but I felt like we were building something pretty solid. And 2 of the core guys that I really enjoyed playing with the most were John Horan and Matt Whitmer. I enjoyed playing with those guys. So seeing that those 2 were already on the roster. And so, I mean, the unofficial recruitment, like we're joking around about Newberry and them asking, like Matt Whitmer was texting me being like, dude, we doing this? Dude, we doing this? Like nonstop. And I mean, that was the part that I'm like, I can't let those guys down. And that was where I kind of felt the most success, because like we were building something great and things were getting better. And we were turning a corner, then we hit a little bit of a rut. But it just kind of sucked that everything got shut down before the playoffs started, because I felt like we could have made at least surprised a team or 2 in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's very true. It was at the end of last season where everything happened. So yeah, that's really good that you get to run things back with Matt and Horan. Horan I've played with in a few seasons here, and definitely a good teammate. And Matt I've known forever.
No, I mean they're great. They're great guys, and both consistently outplay their draft slot every year. Like every time I see when they're drafted, I'm like, holy crap, that's definitely rounds or 2 ahead of or behind where I thought they were going to go. So it's great to see that. But I mean, the chemistry is great. It's been fun. Matt as our goalie.
I was just about to say the game he had with you back there. I was like, we got to play these guys. I didn't even think about it at the time, but Keller, we got to play Shane's team next week. We'll talk about that in the preview for next week's game. But man, talk about Matt McCarchuk about what the game he played last week for you guys. I mean, you want to say that they're in 8th place. Okay, they got Jesse with his Deeks. They got Foes, and then they got Tom Panero. I mean, that's any one of them could be a first round pick, and each one of them, Matt was just having the game of his life last week.
Oh, and it's hilarious because he's in the chat saying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I had a bad first period." Like, dude, like, you kept us in the game.
Yeah,
bro.
absolutely. I mean, trying to stop Foes is like incredible for some of these goalies. I mean, it's tough to even. You can't pretend with Foes. Yeah.
He held him to 3. Like, I mean, he held him to 3, Tom to and I hate saying that, I'm not trying to put Tom on blast, but Tom had 0. I mean, he held everybody in check, which was unbelievable.
Yep. Now, Andrew, as a rookie, I've been meaning to ask this question. I think some of the other rookies have played ice hockey too, but as you say, you're at ice hockey playing defenseman and not used to. I mean, you still had some goals. Some of the other teams in the ice hockey league said that you weren't a legal player. If you recall, he was one of those RIT jerseys.
The RIT pants and practice jersey that I got from my buddy in the Ops team. Yeah,
we went ahead with the RFHL and said, hey, let's get this guy from RIT and have him play for us in a novice league. And Andrew, we had to tell him to stop playing so well, and and then I hit him to the 5th round. But Andrew, tell me a little bit about the big difference between playing in our gym and you played ice hockey your whole life.
Yeah, it's the space. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is, I will be the first to admit that one of the reasons why I play defense in ice is because I don't have, silky mitts or anything like that, right? I don't have the best hands in the world. I play defense in every other sport that I play. That's just where I'm comfortable. And so in the floor, in the gym that size, you kind of have to be everywhere. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get used to, get my head wrapped around, because like naturally, I want to hang around midcourt, make sure that no one gets behind me. That's just, again, where I'm at. And so, I keep reminding myself about halfway through the game, I'm feeling bad because, you and Brad usually have the puck down deep and you're looking for somebody patiently. And I'm just standing there because I don't want to break away the other way, leave Alex out to dry. Right. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably make a cut. And so, I'm just putting my body in front because I'm just going to strain because I'm not making those cuts. So that's really the biggest thing. Is really just the space. And honestly too, just I joke around with a couple people where it's like, in hockey, in ice, you can stop your feet moving and you're still going forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I have to be moving a lot, and I've definitely had some sore legs after those first couple of games. I'm very glad I did the Winter Classic first to do it.
Break yourself in.
Yeah, exactly. And now I just got to get used to a puck that weighs like half a pound.
Yeah,
part 2. So, but yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun though. Again, it's no different than the general idea of ice. It's just smaller space, less people, smaller goals, which doesn't help either for me. I don't know how some of the guys that I've played against or with so far these past couple of weeks find the the holes that they do, but one of these days I'll get dialed in, I guess.
You've had a hat trick, and I know Shane before Shane started playing up the RFHL, he was down in Florida, and so Shane, that was like a rink, right? That was like a full rink where you were running a full rink. There was plenty of room, but holy cow, were you guys? How was your?
I mean, it's been the one thing I love about this like hockey community is that like if you can find a couple dudes that want to play hockey, we can find a place to play hockey, right? So like I was playing on a small rink that was 4-on-4, like tiny, like almost like a box lacrosse rink.
Okay.
4-on-4 in Florida. Then we moved out we took our best players to go play somebody in Orlando, and Orlando was a full-size rink. So like, and then even when you're playing in the NBHL or other places that we've played in tournaments you play in, they play floating blue line. So you get the zone in, you take the line over the blue line over, and then it expands out to center ice is the zone. There's all different types of rules because it then wants to promote more scoring, right? So, I mean, I've played in all different like rinks, arenas, indoors, outdoors, you name it. It's been a gift that I've had. I moved to Florida and I'm like, I'm never going to play hockey again. And then I found my passion moving to hockey for ball hockey to play hockey. And it's been everywhere. So it's kind of crazy. I think I've told the story a few times. I don't know if I've told it on the podcast, but like how I found this league was through Paul Paradine. So Paul, literally, I was playing on a tournament team. I had to, because I had my daughter and I was moving, I'm like, I can't play in the tournament team anymore. but I'm moving to Rochester, New York. Paul filled into my team's spot, and we switched bases. And then my buddy's like, you should talk to Paul because you're moving up to Rochester. And I talked to Paul, and then next thing you know, he connected me with Conco when I'm in on the league. So it was just kind of a crazy circle thing, and it's a small community that's there. And obviously we joke around that Paul knows everybody. Paul literally knows everybody, but it's just a small community. And like I said, you if you find guys that are passionate about hockey, we'll find a place to play hockey.
Absolutely. And Andrew got to meet Paul this past Wednesday when he was blocking his shot.
It's a nice introduction.
That was one. I started asking a lot of people after that game where they got their shin pads from, because I was sending the rest of you up there because I just wear soccer shin guards. I'm like, I'm not taking one of those to a knee. Those were rough.
I mean, and to make this world even smaller too, like Cody Alves on Paul's team, he used to play in the same league. So I took a stop before I moved. Before I moved to Florida, from Florida, I stopped in DC for 2 years. He played in the same league that I used to play in DC. So it's just crazy how all this is all tied together, which is nuts.
And Andrew, I don't know, you may have played against Cody. Actually, I think
yesterday, last week.
Cody was missing this past week, and we weren't complaining about that because Cody, man, he can dangle. He's a good.
No, is that
he's
the
a good
same
player.
Is that the same Cody from Ice?
No, that's a different one. Yeah, that's Cody Sapp, who was actually sitting the season out, but he's played on the floor. He's a past champion as well, Cody Sapp. But Cody Alves is he can dangle. He's one of the better stick handlers in the league. And actually, I played with him in the first time he started in this league outdoors. It's kind of how he got in. And like I said, Andrew, we were not missing playing against him this past week.
It's a small world, dude.
Yeah. I didn't know that about Shane. I didn't know that about Cody. Did you play against him last year, Shane?
No, it was literally like anytime Sweet sees Florida or DC from hockey, he's like, Shane, do you know this guy? And like,
that's right. Okay.
DC is not, but Florida's a big ass state. And honestly, like 2 of the last 3 times he said this, I knew both of them. So it's just kind of crazy that it all happens that way. But yeah, it's hilarious.
It's funny how we've had Dan Hook as a commissioner, we've had John Chatterton as a commissioner, but what hasn't changed with Sweet is that we vet our rookies. We don't just like, hey, come on in. I mean, there's a little bit of Facebook investigating to make sure that they're gonna fit in with our merry band here of bandits here. So he does a good job with that, and everybody who's playing obviously passed the test, that they're good people and just looking to play some hockey on a Wednesday night. And that'll transition me to our preview section of this week's podcast. Is I want to talk to the guys. All 3 of us, I didn't realize this when I was getting this podcast together, but all 3 of us are playing in the 9:30 game. So I'm going to have each of us do a preview of this week's games, and then we can just argue amongst each other with the 9:30 game because we're all playing in it. So Andrew, I wanted to have you talk to you about the Storm Surge taking on Fukushima Faceoff. We've played both of those teams. I know you've been kind of paying attention to the RFHL YouTube channel and stand behind and before and after our games. What have you seen from both of these teams? And if you have a prediction, great. If you don't, it's very understandable. We have to play them later in the season.
Yes. So, I missed that first week when we played Fukushima, so I didn't get the chance, but I had heard about, their style of play and, kind of the team that they drafted for. And it seems to be, playing out that way. They're not scoring a ton of goals necessarily per game, but that doesn't matter because they're, they'll just wear you down over time. And then, Storm Surge. Yeah, exactly. And then Storm Surge, like we said at the very beginning, I mean, they're way better than their record indicates. I mean, even us, it took that literal last second goal from Brandon to beat them. That was even without Tom. I don't think they had Tom that game, so that could have gone way different. Now, granted, that was the game where there was only 4 of us, so that was different for us as well.
That did help. But, we kind of blew a lead there with only 4 guys. So.
And I've got to remind me. I've got a point about us potentially blowing leads for our team's thing, but. But we'll talk about that later. But But yeah, no, this game could be really good. I mean, obviously both teams are coming off of a loss, and it's not to sound cliche, but you never want to play a team coming off of a loss. Both teams got a lot to prove. Especially, and I know we didn't touch too much because we were interrupted by the cooking show. We didn't touch too much on every game from last week, but I was one of the biggest surprise for me last week was Fukushima losing to Tsunami. I honestly did not see that coming the way that those two teams are and where their seasons had been going. Total credit to Tsunami on that one, but I think that's going to lead to Fukushima coming out really motivated to put that in the rear view and get on board there. And to not get too much more, long-winded on that, but I was looking, I was very I'm still learning everybody, but was it Rob who went in a couple of weeks ago, went into that really stat deep dive?
Oh yeah, that was the Bob. When you started to bring that up, I'm like, oh boy, he's gonna bring in our jinx here because Bob was talking about the was it? I think it was this. No, it was the who was it? It might have been the Tacticians, but they kind of have lost a little bit.
I mean, you know me, and that's one of the reasons why I said I'd hop on here. I love diving into that stuff, not as well as Bob did, but I'm looking at some of the stats that we have, and the shooting percentages between these two teams, they're only off by 0.5 point. So I mean, both teams are getting shots and they're scoring, about the same clip, really. Storm Surge even scores an average of 2 more goals a game than Fukushima. At the end of the day, though, I think the goalie edge definitely goes to Fukushima. I know I don't know. Again, I've been in the league just for a very brief period of time, but Kazmark was our goalie.
Yes, Kazmark was our goalie in the winter.
Winter, and he's pretty solid, and he's had. I mean, I'm looking at their scores, and Fukushima hasn't given up a lot of goals this year either. So they're right there, and I think just from a competitive edge, that might be the difference maker in this game. Could come down to goaltending. Again, both teams are going to be motivated to come out, get that win after both teams losing last week. So if I had to put out a prediction, I think I'm going to go with Fukushima in a relatively high-scoring game where both teams get to double digits, so like something like a 14-11 or something like that. Like not a blowout, but both teams are going to get on the board. And how the game will flow, no idea. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be both teams in the double digits with Fukushima getting one out and making – then that makes our, I'll tease it a little bit here, but that'll make our game at 9.
Yes, I was going to say that's how we play the next game.
now that's saying Storm Surge. If you guys pull this one off, then that makes the 9:30 game huge for early midway through the season standings. So but
absolutely, and then definitely good insight. And Bob Hartman, we call him the Bob. He's been providing stats well before I even.
We're losing him again.
No. Oh, hold on. He moved. No. Okay. Well, while we're waiting, but so I really like diving into those stats too. So I appreciate that there's a league like this where those things are kept. I mean, you play in ice hockey leagues, that's just a kid running the rink sitting in the penalty box. Like, not that you're really caring about keeping your goals and assists. I mean, it's men's league hockey, right? But it's cool that that's there. I think it's a really neat part of this league, keeping track of all that stuff.
And I know we're joking around about like diving deep because we would love to get historical stats because honestly, the running joke we've had is how many goals does Paul Paradine actually have, right? He's played for so long. And we were just trying to figure out, like, he plays for so long, played at such a high level that we would just love to see because we figure he's the person who's the person that like somebody else will have to eventually get to. So like somebody like if Brad played for the rest of his life here for a while, like, what will he get to? Like, we're just wanting to see where that mark is from there. So hopefully they can figure that out. But it's great because like I'm also the type of guy where it's like, oh, we can talk about analytics, but I'm a big analytics guy, right? Like, so it's like I go by vibes, I go by what's going on, what else is going on from that. So
and sometimes too,
but it's neat.
and we've talked about this already, how we said that there was a couple people missing for Meteor last week against us, and just some other games where, sometimes just throw the analytics out the window, especially in a men's league, where between whether it's commitments or just a week where you're out of town, or you're unfortunately in some other people's instances where you're hurt. I mean, that might not even matter. I've heard 2.0 and a couple other people on some other podcasts just saying how, this is they call it the preseason, just getting ready for the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Everyone makes the playoffs. That's the thing we always joke around.
Yeah.
Everyone makes the playoffs, and then last year, like 8 seed can win it all. Like, I mean, it crazier things have happened, right? Because they have happened. Like, it's not like the NCAA tournament where 16s are, it's a great story, but they ain't winning the next round. Like, this could actually happen.
Hey guys, it's got to be a great podcast when my internet keeps jumping on and off. I really appreciate you guys taking the reins.
Yeah, no worries.
And this is not a bit, guys. Like, I mean,
it feels like a bit because
this is not a bit.
It feels like a bit because every time you come back, Rob, you're zoomed in a little bit closer every time.
Yeah. I think cooking with Dan just couldn't stand that we were, taking his time slot. So that's what it has to be. Wasn't sure, Shane, if you got a chance to discuss the 7:30, the Tsunami Tacticians versus the Les Tremblements.
So we were waiting for you to come back in to shift over, but we were following up on a few points he had. But, I mean, this one, we talked a little bit about it with Dan. I mean, Dan not being there, that sucks. So, I mean, I think we can mark that Dan's not playing for that game. So, unless we get somebody to fill in for him at a certain level, it's going to be interesting. I mean, because they've been kind of feeling themselves out. They've been playing a lot better. I thought that they overachieved their first week, their first time playing each other, but then it seemed like they were playing consistently like that. So I was ready to eat my words and things were be good. So I mean, if there is a player that could fill in for Dan, like, this roster is ready to rock, right? Like, I mean, they have somebody in Gilzian who's become one of the more reliable defenders that we have. Obviously, we've talked about Mark. Mark behind the pipes is amazing for anybody. Glenn has been playing amazing lately. I mean, that dude creates turnovers. Shane Ressinger's he should be a top candidate for outplaying his draft spot the way he's been playing each year in this league. So
he's going for his third championship too.
Yeah,
Championship.
This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Their roster is ready to rock, and then Sean, who's come in, who's a capable ball player, who's just learning how to play in our gym. But you can tell the skills are there where he's going to be a top 1, top 2 round pick from here on out. So they have a good roster, but it just sucks not having that glue that makes that team run right now playing. So until that gets filled, it's going to be really hard for them to kind of overcome. I mean, I think they'll play in games and they'll be kept in games by the players they have. It's just going to be hard to keep that endurance all the way through. Flip side, you're looking at Tsunami Tacticians who, just if you're looking from top down, I mean, that is intensity, that is scoring, that is high octane offense for all of them. Where you always look at it is, defense might be lacking. And so it's just, you figure out, they're going to score goals, but are they going to be able to do enough to keep them off the scoreboard for them to move on? But they figured that out last week, and if they keep rolling that way and keep figuring out how to win, then that's gonna be interesting. So you're looking at two teams that are, I mean, they're both coming off a win, so I'm not gonna say one's limping in, but if it's up for a prediction, I mean, I think this might be another two-game win or another 2-week win for Tsunami Tacticians. So that's my own prediction.
Okay. And before we get to the 9:30 RFHL After Dark action, I'm going to do a quick preview of Meteor Mayhem versus the Firestorms Hockey Club. And this is basically a really good matchup. We used to have the matchup of the night at 8:30 when Pete R was doing only one broadcast. Now we're doing 4 at a time here. So this is a game is going to be really, really come down to getting in front of Paul's shots, clearing the way for Kenton for the Firestorm Hockey Club. They do a really good job of blocking shots, and I don't think Paul's long shot is going to be the way they win this game. I think they're going to need Cody Elves come in there and sweep in some goals, and the rest of the role players. Brett's Brett. He's got a good, when he has a good defense behind him, he does really well. But I really think that the Firestorm Hockey Club brings a very unique offense. They make their offensive prowess off of defensive presence, basically, meaning they block shots and then take it the other way for a 2-on-1. They're all RFHL or hockey veterans that know how to play in this gym. And I really feel like they'll have the edge for the 8:30 game. But this is the RFHL. It's very unpredictable. I could see this game going either way, but I'm going to take the Firestorm Hockey Club 9-7 over the Meteor Mayhem for the 8:30 game. Now, this is the last week where everybody plays each other for the first time. They don't no more after this. We go back to the first three opponents you had. You play them 3 more games to end out the regular season. So this will be our first time playing against Newberry's Tipsy Talking Twisters. And the scouting report is this Shane Ryan guy. We haven't seen him. we haven't seen him play. Andrew, what are we gonna do?
Who knows?
And it's funny because you guys have known each other for a while. Shane and Andrew both have daughters that play lacrosse. But it's funny that you guys pretty much play the same kind of style. So it's like you're going to be looking in the mirror against each other this week. Andrew, have you? This will be the first time you've seen Shane play, and Shane vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, I stuck around to watch the first half of your game last week, so I saw that, and that was a very welcome back goal that you had there. That was nice. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's that's really you've talked about this league a lot, as Rob has, and how I got into it is basically the two of you talking about it and eventually getting me in. So
it'll be nice to see the legend of Shane Ryan play in person.
Yeah, no.
up close and in person.
Far from it.
Shane, have you seen Andrew play? I know I remember you used to tell me he's an athlete. Like when I told him about how Andrew was playing ice hockey. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I've never seen Andrew play hockey. I've heard the lore of Andrew playing hockey and how
it's only in the RIT here. That's all it is.
But I mean, but the everyone's like, Andrew's really good at hockey, and it's funny that they're like, oh, he's playing on our team, and it's like, oh, this guy's a ringer, right? So it's so it's going to be neat to see how the game translates, and obviously we're joking around that he's getting used to it, but if you're a good hockey player, you'll figure this gym out, you'll figure out what's going on, and this is going to be a blip in your radar from the first year. You're going to get this first little next year. You're going to be a season pro, second round pick. If you know how to play, you'll learn how to play this gym. So it's going to be awesome to play against you guys, because you guys are a lot of fun anyway, and we always have a good time when we play. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'm just saying, we joke around. You're being humble about it, but hockey. You're going to figure this gym out like you do every other version of hockey you play before, and you'll be fine.
And I really feel like this game will come down to the goalies. As I mentioned, I was reffing your game last week when Matt McCarchuk was standing on his head. And I used to have him, he used to play goalie for us, and he would be like, sorry about that. They're like, Matt, we left you out to dry and you still made the save. What are you apologizing? I mean, he's just so humble. He's a great goalie. One of my favorite people in the league. I'm sure you could see that from, Shane, you played with some good goalies in the RFHL. What's the difference between Matt and some of the other folks that you played with?
I mean, the problem with Matt, or not the problem with Matt. I mean, the beauty of Matt is that normally I felt like I had to touch a puck for it to actually not necessarily to make a save, but I mean, I needed to be the person to
block it,
actually stick to block it or do something to impact that shot.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about that. I mean, Brett is probably the biggest comparison I've had to that, where I don't have to worry about a goalie before that, because that when you do that and you get to play free, that makes my life so much easier. Where I don't have to worry about if I miss something or I have a bad read on a goal. odds are behind me they're going to stop it. So
sure.
I'm just really excited to be able to play free again, because that's the biggest thing. Because like sometimes that doesn't happen in this league, and that's the beauty of it. So
sure. And Andrew, you've played, like, we played in the winter with Steve Kazmark. He's a great goalie and of himself, but Alex has been having a season where he is just keeping us in games. I mean, there were so many shots they took last week where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he made that save. Talk about Alex's play for us.
Yeah, I was saying, how did 2.0 say that on the broadcast in the friend zone? Is that what he said, or our family? Or I forgot what he said.
I was watching the game on Friday, and it was the funniest thing. I replayed it a few times because he goes, "Oh, right in the friend zone," and I wasn't watching. I was on my laptop. I'm like, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good."
Yeah, no, I was right next to him when he made that save too, and he was definitely hurt for.
I think it was a Paul Paradigm from half court. Yeah, and it was, and Paul doesn't let back on his shots no matter where. So, but he also had some floppy some saves where, like, I don't know how he made the save. He just cut off the angle, and
he's been huge for us this year. I mean, again, looking just at when you're out there, you could just tell that he's having a great season. But then even when you do look at the stats, I mean, I was just looking at it just now. Of the 4 goalies who have played in all 6 games, he's seen the most shots. Not by a wide margin, but sometimes in the flow of the game, it doesn't seem like that. And especially I'm getting used to so many people taking shots off the restart that, I didn't realize how much he was seeing. Like, again, I knew he was saving them. We're winning games and he's not letting in a ton, but I didn't realize just how much he was. So it just kind of shows, again, on top of that, how much he's really, anchoring it back there for us this year. That kind of that tease that I had earlier in the segment.
Talk about that.
We have, we start out hot, and that really helps him out as well. And then just pivoting off, to our team as a whole now. But we have the best first period goal differential in the league at, a +10. And then, second period, we're still pretty good. And then I think we might have the worst third period.
If we don't now, we did at one point, and it was by a huge margin.
We're -9. We're -9, and you see it in our goal differential. Like, we're winning games, but only by a few. And you want to win those close games. That'll pay off down the line. But it'd be nice to. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this week. It'd be nice to not have to have those close games, but.
Alex has been keeping us in them. That's what it is.
He's been giving us a huge, and I heard I forgot who was commentating our game when I was rewatching some of it, but I've noticed a lot too. He does a really good job with getting that stick in position, and just everything else, taking away angles, all those other things. And I do think though that part of it, and this isn't discounting Alex at all, but just kind of defending the shots. I feel like as a team we force a lot of bad shots.
Okay.
And then that's my take.
Another thing that Alex does, and he'll be the first to tell you, is he comes out of the goal. Like, if you've seen, and I know you've never seen Conco play goalie, but that's kind of how he does it. He comes right out at you. He's not going to. Yeah, exactly. He's not going to sit in the back of the goal.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot.
He's got the opposite style of like a Kazmark, who Kazmark's like, "Come beat me,"
Right.
Where Alex is like, "All right, come beat me." He's
like a short soccer goalie. Like, that's how I used to play. You come out on top, make you beat you on the angles. Like that's he's.
But I feel like too that as a team, that's where we're good. Is like, Alex is seeing that volume, but we're letting him warm up and make those saves because we're forcing those far outside shots, or the really good shooters in this league are going to score from those restarts every once in a while, but we're not hanging him out to dry. And again, maybe that's because of my super conservative style that I mentioned earlier, where I'm hanging at midcourt, so he's not seeing breakaways. But I think that's just one of those things too, where, just to pivot, using that as a little segue, I was looking then at Tipsy's goal differential as well. It's the same. So I think this is going to be a really cool, not the same number, but the same trend, where start off in the plus, and then over the next 2 periods, it tails off. So I think this game's just going to come down to not just this, but a big part of it is going to be who can sustain their game for the entirety of it and not tail off in the third. And because even last week, I mean, that was for our standards, a comfortable win, and there was only 2 goals. But
you were comfortable. I wasn't comfortable.
No, I know. Just it wasn't a 1 goal last minute type of deal.
Yeah, true.
I mean, last week had to be one of the lowest scoring RFHL weeks in history. I mean, looking at there was a 5-3 game. I mean, we were the only team that scored over 10, but everything else was under 10, which I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah, and then even in that one for us, it was something where, towards the end of the game, I don't know if we were just protecting the lead because they were shooting and everything, but I think it's just, and I'll be the first to admit I haven't watched too many of Tipsy's games from start to end, but it seems like it'll be relatively the same in that regard as who's going to finish the game. Both teams are good at starting the game. Who's going to finish it out in the third?
Yeah, and there's floor players from both teams that you can't take a moment's notice of give them a playoff or whatever. I mean, you got John Horan, one of the best shots in the RFHL, as Shane can probably tell you, and Newberry's just that guy who is he's everywhere. He's and I know you played with him in the ice hockey league, Keller. So you do have a little bit of familiarity with Newberry. So we're getting towards the end of the broadcast here, and just wanted to get your final thoughts on the week coming up. One last announcement, as Dan kind of mentioned, for the outdoor league. Get your name on the waiting list behind Shane Ryan. If we get enough people, maybe we'll do that double header deal we did the first year, where one team had to play 2 games, or we'll do a bye or something like that. But if we get enough names, maybe we'll have 5 or 6 teams. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So let Dan or Sweet know if you do want to play in the outdoor league in the summer. And I'm just speculating here if we go forward with a 5th or 6th team, but never hurts to get that thought out there. With that being said, Andrew, your first POJ cast, anything you'd like to leave us with?
No, I mean, I don't know how much more time we have, but I didn't want to take all the time talking about our matchup. Shane, do you have any thoughts from your guys' end of what you feel about for Wednesday?
Oh, we're not making predictions.
Okay.
No. I mean, for us, I mean, just I'm looking forward to just getting back out there again with the guys. Yeah. I mean, it's I've had a lot of familiarity playing a bunch of these players. I mean, Westgate Matt's the only one I've never played with until last week, but other than that, I've played with Crick and we've won a championship together. So I mean, I'm just excited to get back out there, feel a little bit more like myself. I felt like I played all right last week, but not the level I'm proud of. So hoping maybe this week is the week that I can start feeling pretty proud about myself. So
I'm really happy for your comebacks. You can save it for 2 weeks though.
That's That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. We'd love to have you back, this
is gonna be a lot of fun, guys. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, looking at our teams, we're pretty evenly matched. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I look forward to stepping in front of a few Brad shots, because it's always fun until you get punched in the mouth. So let's see how it goes.
It's funny you say that, because one of my notes for our game was we have been playing and winning a lot of close games, and a lot of that's because of Brad's heroics at the end. But if it's him versus John at the end, I saw John's got 59 block shots this year. Like if he's in front of a Brad potential last second shot, that might just get blocked and we're going to overtime. So we'll see. Yeah. But I guess just to wrap up too, not to focus solely on our game, like this week, I'm looking at the matchups. This is a really, really good week for games. I mean, again, you got teams playing each other, both coming off of losses, you got teams coming off of wins playing each other. Honestly, I think from a matchup standpoint, I'm really excited to see how Tsunami and Les Tremblements play against each other. Just completely differing styles. Yep. I think that from a stylistic standpoint, that could be the most contrasting teams finally going against each other. That'll be really cool to see which one of those comes out on top. So overall, I'm really looking forward to Wednesday.
Good. And Shane, I'll kick it back to you. Any last thoughts before I go for today?
No, like I said, just like I said, looking forward to getting back out there with Tipsy Talking Twisters, and hopefully we can keep everything moving forward and moving in the wing column. So
I'm getting breaking news. Los Tremblements just threw in another Another cooking class for Dan from Dan that he's gonna try and lure Shane away. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I really appreciate. Yeah.
Ink is dry.
He's gonna be going from no games to 2 games. His wife's gonna kill him. All right, guys, that'll wrap up our broadcast. I will be going off of the air for the 4th time during this broadcast. I don't know what was going on with my internet, but I'll leave it here. Is it Wednesday yet?